rushing it in a sense. I mean, on the news, obviously they say we're going through all the protocols, we're doing all this, but it's the news. They make up whatever they want, you know? So just do the research, learn about it yourself, and everybody has their own decision.
Well, the vaccine was made in Germany, not Russia, so they're Germanying it.
Hey, you got a laugh from me, Eric.
So funny, Eric.
All right. Well, anyways, welcome, guys. How's it going?
Excellent. You're doing great.
It's going great, Eric. I'm happy to spend this time with you, talk about investments and money, things that get me excited in life.
Hopefully,
Money
this is
101.
Yeah. Hopefully, this is a good pregame to your vacation there, Jan. But here we are talking about finance as we're waiting for one more. But I just started recording, so I'm just gonna do the introductions. Today we have Robert.
Hello, guys.
Yes, I go former name Rocky, and I just appreciate Eric inviting me on this TED Talk. I appreciate it.
Yes, Ted, Asian Ted, Tan Talk. And then we have over here Jan.
I'd like to be Goku from Dragon Ball Z.
By the way, that hairline's going more like Krillin.
What, mine? It's all the stress from 10, 12 years of friendship with you, dude. It just keeps growing back.
Yeah, I don't even know how we're still alive. We've almost died multiple times.
We have, probably many times.
But that is not what we're here to talk about today. Today, we're here to talk about money and finances. So, money, who has it in 2020?
Oof, tough question.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a hand raised over there.
Yeah,
we do. So are you guys familiar with Square and our Cash App? I work for Square. Cash App has soared this year. Square stock has gone up by 190%. It's cool. You guys should download it. Yeah, for sure. But the biggest advice I'd give people about investments, honestly, Eric, diversify, spread your money around, buy, some large companies, some small companies, some international, some domestic, different industries, and just be ready to hold for 3 to 5 years. And then I think you're going to make it. Don't get too caught up in the day stuff. Index funds outperform everything. S&P 500, NASDAQ, and all those index funds that I've had for like 5-6 years are just unbelievable returns. So if you don't have money to look at it like every day and check it and hustle and sell and all that, get most of your money into index funds and you'll do really good. I guess that'd be my overall beginner advice, right? Like I said earlier, though, Motley Fool, I paid for them about 2 years ago, and their stock picks, they come out with a new one every other Thursday. I don't know if you guys have seen their articles online. Their CEO goes on CNBC all the time. They're pretty well known. Yeah. These stock picks beat the stock market by 5 or 6 times over if you sign up for their stock advisor service. My cousin and I split it in Germany, and we've just both had incredible returns. I've turned so 5 friends have got on and started with it. I've turned 2 or 3 friends' lives around with it because they were losing a lot of money in the market. And then I would just beat them Motley Fool picks for the first 6 months. And then they jumped on and did it. And they're just thanking me so much a year and a half later that it's worked for them. So I would highly recommend you guys sign up for Motley Fool. They have a rule breaker service, which is $60 for the first year. That's like the silver level. And then they have stock advisor, which is $100. And I've just had tremendous success with these guys for sure. But most of my money is in index funds too, and Square. I think you guys should buy Square. Seriously, this company's going to keep going. It's a great culture, great leadership, fantastic. They've got different lines of business and they're growing internationally. They're not big in Europe or Canada or anything yet.
Well, hold on. Before we continue, this is a small channel. We're not sponsored by Square or anybody, unless they want to sponsor us. So Jan's over here just plugging his company.
Disclaimer.
We're not sponsored by anybody, so we have an unbiased.
Where's our lawyer at?
We're not professionals.
We're not professionals. We're just a bunch of average Joes talking about.
Wait a minute, we're not professionals. I'm on the wrong TED Talk. Sorry, guys.
This is TED Talk.
I will tell you though. Hey, but seriously, guys, look into the Motley Fool stuff. I've had tremendous success with it. It's worked out for everything. It's changed my friends' lives around too. It's just something that I've found. I've been in the market and stuff for like 7 years, but these guys are good. What they do is they find these mid-stage companies that are up and coming and like show promise and aren't going to go to bankruptcy that are hot, and then they recommend those. Things that are really good in the economic time. They recommended Zoom right when the pandemic started, like 6 months ago and stuff. So, and that one's done well. Like they're pretty good. And it's just 2 minutes each month. You check and see what they say, buy those, right? Sell them every, 6 months review, sell them every few years or whatever, and you'll do great. Those are the two biggest pieces of advice I can give you. Index funds and Motley Fool for sure.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, like when I first started, it was just all like looking at the top movers and then slowly getting into Reddit. And then one thing with Reddit, it provides good information, but also you got to be very cautious of what they say, right? Like if you try to do like penny stocks, don't buy into what they're saying. A lot of times, like, oh yeah, pump money into this, it's gonna move. Just watch, and then you'll see like go up for like that first 1 week or 2 weeks, and it just tanks. Like those things you got to be careful for. Like just do all the research yourself, but like you can always use like social media platforms to learn a little bit more of what you need to learn, right? But that's kind of how I started. Now, like I said earlier, I do investments maybe like every few months or so. Sometimes I'll do like a few times a week. But I'm just a casual watcher, average Joe, I guess.
Gotcha, for sure. How many hours a week do you guys spend looking at investments and market?
Well, hold on. Before we continue, I want to say, hey, Josh, what's up?
Josh, welcome to the Investor Club.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hey, yeah, good to see you guys.
Yeah.
Almost said I wasn't gonna make it over here.
If you're looking for the Jake Paul School of Finance or the TED Talk, you're in the wrong room. This is the TN Talk.
He's a professional.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's okay. I think we're still gonna be able to make some money over here. Let's see what's up.
I like this guy.
Yeah. Well, who's gonna introduce? So, Robert, Rocky.
Yeah, let's do this.
What's your history with finance?
Yeah,
tell us.
Yeah, so I like I said earlier, well, we weren't live yet, but earlier in the year I had a second job. Well, I won't say what the second job was, but it got let go by the whole virus, right? So I was thinking, man, I could go out there, I could find another job, or I could start learning this whole stock market thing, right? And you get like $1,000 a day by doing this, right? That was my impression. So I was looking at it, and I was looking. I downloaded. I was on TD Ameritrade, no plug or anything, but that's what I went with in the beginning. And so, they got the articles, they got the whole entire, like, you could watch everything. And I found this company. It's called Tesla, right? So I was looking at it. I followed it for I'd say about 2 months. I was like, man, this thing is like, it's like going up every single day. So finally, back in March, I was like, let's do this, So I had some savings. I went in on it, and I think just like skyrocketed, right? So I was like, all right, we're doing pretty good on this thing. And then the last couple months, we've been getting all this talk about, EVs and saving the environment and all this stuff. So I just started going all in on EVs. I mean, I went in on any kind of EV you could think of: Neo, Xsting, CEIC, which is a new one that came out the other day, Workhorse, all these different EVs, because all these laws are coming out that are saying like 2035, that's it. Like there's no more carbon cars, nothing, no petrol, nothing, right?
Well, what's can you explain what an EV is?
Electric vehicles, right?
Yeah, electric vehicles. So, and then I joined like a bunch of Facebook groups. I joined a bunch of different things. Obviously, well, he had asked earlier how much I spend researching this every day. So I work about 10 hours a day because I commute an hour back and forth. So I wake up at about 5, and I study it for about an hour every single day. And then 6:30, obviously the market opens in California. So I just study it, go in on it, and then. But I've learned after all these months, right, about 6 months, you don't want to go in early in the morning because like that's when it's like very like crazy. So I've learned that about 10:30, somewhere around like 10:30 on California time, that's when it kind of like I guess normalizes for that day. Because I've invested and it was up like $50 a share at like 6:31 in the morning, right? And then by 10:30 you're down like 10 grand, right? So I've learned that about.
Do you set limit orders? You know what I do, dude? I just set limit orders the night before, and then I just sleep in, and when I wake up, it executes that price, or it doesn't, and it gets away from me.
for me,
Okay.
like I was a new investor, right? I didn't know anything about limit orders. I knew nothing about the stock market. But you know, you hear the news, you hear all these things, and it says all these millennials and Generation Z are making billions of dollars in the stock market, right? So I'm like, hey, I'm a millennial. Why am I not making millions of dollars, right? So I was like, let me learn about this thing. So I spent about I'd say about 2 months learning it and just learning all the different things. I mean, you have all those different puts, calls, options. But I'm like, I'm gonna go basic, right? I'm just gonna buy it, sit, sell it when it gets higher, right? So that's
there you go. Good job. It's simple.
So that's what I did. I didn't worry about anything else except just buying it and waiting for it to go up, right? So it's been a run on Tesla, and especially they've been added to the S&P 500, so it's going very well. And I invested in NEO as well, and all these different EV companies, because like I said, on the news and on the media, it's getting so hyped up about these EVs, and it's just like, well, why not just invest while they're still early? Because a lot of people say, why didn't I invest in Apple? Why didn't I invest in Amazon 20 years ago? Who knows? Maybe in 20, 30 years, that's where we're going to be. Right?
Would you say most of your money is in electric vehicle companies?
All of it is.
The advice I would just give, I would diversify a little bit. You can make it your main thing and keep like half of it in, but I would check out some other industries and things going on too.
And I invested in Apple, Amazon, but I was more for like short-term gains rather than long-term, because like for me, it feels like those were kind of maxed out already. You know, if you got in back in the 1980 or 2000, that was great, but now it fluctuates, almost. So it hasn't risen much since March. I mean, for Apple, yeah, it went on a big run, but I think I'm trying to get in early on these EVs before, like, let's say 10, 20 years from now. That's the main thing, like technology was back in the day again. There's many options out there. I mean, there's a lot of options. I'm not saying that EVs are like, let's just do it, but there's so many options.
Yeah. You're definitely like investing socially and responsibly and for sustainability, man. That's cool that you're investing into green energy instead of just buying like oil companies. I think more of the world needs to do that, Exactly. So cheers to you for that. That's cool.
Yeah. And Josh, how about you, man? How did you get into? Oh, but are you still there?
Oh no, he left.
He dropped.
He didn't like my spiel on EV companies. He's a carbon guy. He likes Mustangs.
We're gonna make some money. He just said, "We're gonna make some money." Yeah, and then quit.
He likes Mustangs and muscle cars. That's why.
Yeah, he's just hopping in, trying to get some quick bits and take off. Jot it down.
No, he had a lot of input though. I was reading his messages.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he seemed like he had some good options in there.
That's why I need him. I don't know where he's at. He's hiding.
Good info.
Yeah. Y'all,
he's back. He's back.
There he is. There he is.
Oh, dude, I was like, all right, Josh, your turn. And then you just disappeared on us.
Yeah, this Wi-Fi, I gotta love it. I need to get this thing hardwired in.
yeah, no worries. Well, we just want to know, like, how did you get into like stocks and crypto, or what sparked your interest in finance?
Oh, it all started in the depths of a conspiracy theory pit hole, my friend. I mean, my father has always been buying gold, silver, pieces of 8 as far as I can remember back. And, after I got introduced into the ideas of into fractional reserve currency, and the fact that our dollar is going into very scary routes right now, definitely made me want to look at the means of keeping the value of my money, especially in an area where, the social climate that we're living in now, there's no telling what may happen. And having something like a cryptocurrency that is so easily changed into any currency to be used anywhere in the world, I feel is an extreme utility that should never be overlooked. And that's definitely had me delving hours a day into researching on different coins, following different bits of resources, Daily Hodl, Cointelegraph. I'm trying to learn how to save my money before it gets stolen from me.
Oh, yeah.
So Josh, is most of your money in cryptocurrency?
Right now, I'm about a third of my assets are allocated into cryptos.
That's cool, man. I just got into crypto last week. I've been in stocks and bonds and real estate for like 7-8 years. I just bought my first Bitcoins last week. So these currencies, like I've heard of other ones, Litecoin and Ethereum. Do like if Bitcoin goes up certain day, do the other currencies mostly follow Bitcoin, or do they go like different directions?
So, I mean, for the most case that I've seen, there's a lot that move in tandem with Bitcoin. However, there is something called alt season that is it's cyclical. You know, every time Bitcoin has a giant pump, whenever it starts to consolidate, all the altcoins seem to have their heyday. And that's where we've seen a lot of the biggest gains with the altcoins. You know, I mean, Ethereum is a fantastic base, especially as most all other altcoins use ERC20 token, which is Ethereum based. But
so what's the definition of an altcoin? Sorry, I don't know what the definition of an altcoin is. I'm really like crypto noob level 100, level 0, you know?
Well, so before we continue with any of this, let's explain what is cryptocurrency and what is it compared to stock? Is it the same thing?
I mean, if you look at it from the outside, it operates identically. You know, I mean, all the graphs, all of the way that people run technical analysis on it, it's become to a point. I mean, it's been running a decade now strong, you know, starting with Bitcoin. But
thank you, Silk Road.
Scary turn there. That's where I first saw it.
But, I mean, I don't know what that is. Continued.
But essentially, I mean, there's so many different currencies. It's fun to say cryptocurrency, but essentially it's just different companies that have different purposes, you know, governance tokens, utility tokens, and the like. And then Bitcoin is one that is pretty much only used as a form of payment, you know, whereas a lot of other ones like XRP is one of the ones I'm really interested in. Meanwhile, you know, everyone's over here calling it, you know, shitcoin. It hasn't produced or done anything in so long. However, that's one that it's been in the top 10 cryptocurrencies for 8 years. So to sit and say that it's not doing anything is kind of a silly way to look at it when, you know, I always root for the underdog, especially an underdog that is operating in 225 different countries.
Oh, that's a plug.
Yeah, gotcha. So what do you use to trade these currencies? Are you on, is it Coinbase is the platform? Because I just bought Bitcoin on Square's Cash App. Right.
Yeah.
I like, how do I buy and look at these different coins and their prices and all that?
So I like to use exchanges. You know, I use Coinbase as, you know, it's the most popular one that I've seen. I use that as my avenue to put my fiat currency or my US dollars from my bank account or my debit card into an exchange to make into a cryptocurrency, Bitcoin or, you know, Ethereum, what have you. The exchange, the best way to get a hold of a cryptocurrency and actually take possession of it. PayPal, that's now doing it, Robinhood, Stash, all these other places that you can get Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. If you don't own the keys and have possession of the keys, the private keys that, you know, write out the account, you don't have that cryptocurrency.
That's your U.S. government.
Boom. You know, and as PayPal has dropped down, and now we have like some 300,000 users now starting to use
that's what I did.
Cryptocurrencies. Boom. It's brought so many people in, but now the big step is getting people to realize that taking your coin off of online holdings like that, which are, you know, a hot wallet, essentially, it can be accessed through the internet. It can be hacked. Exactly. Getting into something that's called cold storage, a cold wallet, that's the way to have possession of your currencies and essentially how you become your own bank. You know, that's the big point, being your own bank, not paying someone else to watch your money, especially when all the whispers of negative interest rates are coming to light. Scary things. Pay yourself, don't pay someone else to do it.
Wait, Josh, I got a question. So what is the tangible, like when you're buying into Bitcoin, what is tangible about it? Like with stocks, you buy into a company, right? So what is tangible about buying the Bitcoin?
Yeah. Also with traditional stocks, you can get dividends from these big companies. Yeah. And to my understanding, you don't get any from Bitcoin and you will have to sell your coin in order to gain any kind of profit from it. Is that true?
So, I mean,
why do I need coins?
It's purely based on trust. That's the
Yeah.
best thing about Bitcoin is
I
it's
understand that,
easier
yeah.
to transact with, but it doesn't have anything backing it. That's the scary part. But once you
Right.
get into
You're
it,
just trusting that somebody else is going to be able to take that as a form of payment at a business or a friend or something. That's what it is, right?
exactly. But like when you
Yeah.
step back, exactly how the dollar started, right? It was a trust that this paper note is backed by gold
That is
in a
true.
bank somewhere.
Mhm.
But we have
We were on
seen
gold.
how that trust has turned out recently. How do we know we can
Exactly.
trust cryptocurrency?
You know, and there's the thing is you can't really trust anything. And if you're trying to go into this because you trust it, you need to reevaluate everything, especially with currency. You know, the reason I can trust is because for 10 years, people have been putting money into it and it's become so strong and so prominent that, I mean, it's going up and competing with the stock market. And right now it's actually starting to split from it for the first time ever. And that's what
Yeah,
most
the
people,
Bitcoin returns are unbelievable. I was just looking at it on my phone, man. It's like 100% this year, 161% in 1 year or something. 1 second. Hang on. Bitcoin returns 162% in the past year. In the past month, 42.26%. The past week, 15% for just Bitcoin. That's pretty nuts.
Well, in the past 5 years, Bitcoin went up by what, 10 grand,
Well,
right?
you had a correction in there. You had a big in there, and then now it's.
But
Are
it's
you-
valued at 10 grand or 18 grand right now.
Yeah, 18.
Yeah, per
19,
coin.
yes. Mhm.
Yeah.
Isn't it
But
hit like
also-
23 or 24?
Did
When
it?
was was it 23?
Oh yeah, it was 23 or 24, like in 2000 and
like
17, I
18,
think.
17?
yeah.
I think 20.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
I think that the 20 grand was the highest, the all-time high, and it wicked
Yeah.
up into like 2000, like 300,
Uh.
some stuff like that. I like Coinbase because it's really user-friendly and easy to get in.
Is there
You
a
know, they
commission
have-
on Coinbase?
How's that?
Is there a commission on Coinbase? Like a percentage?
I mean, I know that there are like, you can share codes to like codes and stuff to get bonuses. And they also have a lot of videos that you can watch to learn about certain cryptocurrencies and certain coins. And
That's where I'm
like
gonna
you watch
start.
a 2-minute video, they give you $2 in that currency. You know, if you're invested and you like the information you got, you can hold on to that coin, cross fingers, or you can trade it into something that you actually want. You know, I think by the end of all the videos I watched, I got like $50 in random currencies that I locked
Nice.
into what I wanted. You know, and
A question for you. What's some indicators that you've noticed over the past years that Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency is going to increase in price? Anything you noticed? Kind of random.
well, have you guys heard of the Bitcoin halving?
No.
Explain.
Fear of
Okay,
missing
so
out?
Bitcoin is made to be anti-inflammatory, so it can't inflate. Sorry, inflationary. God damn, what's that word? It's supposed
Inflation?
to inflate instead of
De-
inflate. Exactly. So they'll only ever mine 21 million Bitcoin.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Once the 21 millionth coin is mined, they're going to stop making all of it. And then supply and demand does that fun thing where there's no more supply, demand skyrockets. Now,
Yeah.
there's also that fun point is what happens is there's people mining Bitcoin. They have computers running code. Essentially, they process transactions of Bitcoin crossing from one person to another. And through that, they're adding up the equation and adding the next block to make the next
My
coin.
company does that for a lot of money. Square does that for a shit ton of money.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Josh, I have a
Now-
question though.
By the
So
way-
what's to stop them from making more after 21 million?
The man that, or the team person, Satoshi Nakamoto made Bitcoin, made
2008?
it into the code. What was that?
I was like, 2008.
Yeah. So beyond that, it's set into the coding that once that one's made, they can't make any more.
But
It's
by
like
who?
the
though?
equation can only go so long.
But by who though?
I was-
Why doesn't he continue mining unlimited amounts of Bitcoin?
Because they wanted to make a coin that would not be inflated to nothing. This person made this specifically to fight the government and to give people a store of value outside of what the governments have provided. could have stopped this back in 2008 to 2015, and now it has ran so hard. There are so many people invested in it. You know, I mean, I think the basic funny math, you know, if there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin, and you just do that, how many millionaires are in the world? You know, some 400 millionaires across the world. There's not even enough Bitcoin for all of them to own one. Get Bitcoin.
Yeah, but I got another question though. So, you know, it goes back to like all these Fortune 500 companies, all these people that own billions and trillions of dollars, right? Why doesn't he think the same way? So once he reaches 21 million and he's thinking to himself, I could be a multi-trillionaire. Why not continue this?
Well, because honestly, if it's set that way, the Bitcoin each will be worth more by not making more of them than by printing more, because the supply and demand factor.
So does he own a lot of it then? Or how do you know how much he owns?
This person is totally unanimous. Now, across the board with cryptocurrencies, you'll find that the person or entity that made that coin holds a majority of it. Rug pulls are common through cryptocurrency world, you know, and if you're not careful, you'll wind up broke. But that is kind of one of the big indicators, you know, invest any more than you're willing to lose. You know, I went in specifically like, I can just spend this and not worry about it. And I haven't become a millionaire or anything, but I haven't lost money. And I see a lot of really good potential going on with what's just with the information that I've seen out there. So fingers crossed.
I feel like the recent surge in coins is because a lot of people have a lot of, what was it, FOMO, you know, a lot of fear of missing out, because in 2017, there was an explosion of coins, especially with Bitcoin. I haven't went to Wikipedia on this, but from my knowledge of coins is that Bitcoin was used on websites like the Silk Road, where it was used as a currency where the government can't track, even though the government can track it. And I don't want to get into that, but if you bought from the Silk Road, the government knows. And that's where Bitcoin came from. That's where I heard of Bitcoin, was using these websites to buy. I don't remember listed, but you can Google it, Silk Road.
Dark web.
Yeah, dark web.
The dark web, the onion.
And before the guy, what's his name? Was it Julian or was it Ross? Julian Ross, the guy who was running the Silk Road, before he got busted.
Julian Assange.
Julian, yeah. Was it in Berkeley or San Francisco?
No, Julian Assange wasn't.
I think it was like
running
the San
Silk
Francisco.
Road. What was that dude?
The guy who got busted at Silk Road was in San Francisco. Yeah.
It was in the San Francisco Public Library, right?
What was that kid's name?
I'll put it on the screen later. Besides the point. So until that point, until the Silk Road went down, nobody credited or nobody acknowledged Bitcoin.
Ross William Ubrecht. That's the guy's name.
Yeah.
Ross Ubrecht. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Name dropping the wrong person, get in trouble.
It was Yawn and Square.
No,
but after he got busted, the usage of coins shot up. The value shot up. Everybody else started buying coins, and then even the government started using coins. And now coins are traded in the stock market, right?
Yeah, you can find them there.
Yeah. So that's the history, a quick history of Bitcoin. It was used for drugs, and now it's used for saving money. So
can you still use it to buy drugs? That's all I really care about.
That's not part of this conversation.
Let's make a topic on that, Eric.
Just edit this out. Just edit this out. Just delete this
New
part.
video.
We can talk about it, but
The government isn't listening at this point. Oh wait, yeah.
Can you use Bitcoin to buy Molly and acid and shit, or no?
That's why it's so expensive.
Yes. We want me to tell you, yes.
Web version.
I mean, you can find the websites. It's not gonna be that hard. I mean,
big question: would you use your Bitcoin to buy drugs? You're gonna have a lot more money in the coin.
Yeah.
Just one Bitcoin, man, and I'm set for like a couple of years, dude.
So I remember
me and all my homies.
Jan, one of our mutual friends between Jan and I, he was buying Bitcoin, like one coin for like $100 or $200. It was fucking dirt cheap.
That's crazy.
And now a coin is worth 1,800 or 18,000.
18,000.
Yeah, that is insane. And of course, with that huge huge jump, a lot of people now have the fear of missing out when it comes to
Yeah.
coins. You know, coins and stocks, man, Wolf of Wall Street stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, was that not such a great movie though? That was such a
It
good movie.
was pretty cool.
And I'm not into like those dark, movies, but on the face of it, it was just like, you just go for it, right? I mean, you go for it and it works out, it doesn't work out. But the thing with them was they were making money on the actual transactions. They weren't worried about if your stock goes up or down. They're making money on you particularly, right? So that's how they made their millions, billions of dollars. And that's how it is with TD Ameritrade, Robinhood, all these different things. They don't care if the stock goes up or down. They're making money regardless. So that's what we got to get into.
Agreed.
So they're making money off the trust of the value of that stock, right?
They're just charging you the fee of it. So like the same with PayPal. PayPal charges you like 1.8 or 2.9% after this
Boo,
year.
we don't
right?
like them. They're Square's competitor. Fuck PayPal.
Yeah, but they're still making billions of dollars based on all these people missing out, right? They don't care if it goes up or down. They're gonna make
Hand over fist.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, but the Wolf of Wall Street, they didn't just charge people, they inflated their stocks and stole from a lot of people.
That's true.
Let's be real here. They played within the system to make
They
money.
made it sound like a good investment, pretty much.
Oh, it was great
You
for
don't get
them.
Lambos on transactions.
Yeah, it was great for them. So, and yeah, I mean, like these guys were making a lot of money, yeah, right, from what people trusted them to say about the stock, like what Josh was talking about earlier, that the trust they had between their clients and the stock, was false. Like, how do we prevent ourselves from getting back into that sort of hole?
I mean, heck, how many corporations and companies have rug pulled just the same? I mean, it happens quite frequently.
Well, and that's the same reason why, like, when I walked into Wells Fargo the other day and I told them I want to take out all this money to invest in Tesla, right? And they go, well, we got our marketing manager, we got our investment person. I was like, no, I've been through that. Like, you guys are just trying to make your money off of me, right? Why not just
Dude, don't listen to them, man. Just do it on your own, man.
Exactly.
Don't
Why
listen to
not
those
just go
fucking
directly
advisors.
to it, cut out the middleman, and then just invest in it,
Yeah, definitely. Don't pay somebody to manage your money, because if they lose, you're fucked,
Exactly.
Yeah. When I left out of Harbor Freight, I was there for like 5 years. And I had a 401k there that they were building up at Wells Fargo. And I was like, I don't know if I want Wells Fargo managing my 401k. And I got out of there just before they did that, bankruptcy and reopened and reclassified themselves as a new business. And I was like, wow, yeah. And that money is essentially what I into the cryptos. I figured that'd be a better retirement fund for me.
Was that the
Very good. Good
2008
job.
one?
I like that move, my man.
Was that the 2008 incident?
2018.
Oh,
just recently.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I remember
Are you
that.
guys talking
Scam
about the
2-3
manager
years ago.
who sold $500,000?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It was
Was it that thing where the lower managers were opening up accounts, false accounts, right, underneath?
That's what it was.
Under, like,
Right?
people's
That's what it
Well,
was.
that's what it
Something
was,
like that.
Yeah.
I
Well,
remember.
there's something else in addition to that, though, because I used to work, I don't know if you guys heard of, when I first started working here in Visalia at a bank, and then it got transitioned. So, like, you hear about other stuff, right? So there's like security measures when you work in a bank where you have a manager and you have a like teller, for example, and they don't have access specifically to the vault, because if one person has access to the vault, they can go in there and steal $1 million, right? So you have two people. So what happened with Wells Fargo, because I looked into it, I was interested. They had two people on the inside. They had the manager and then they had the teller, because they had both keys to it, right? And yeah, they stole about $500,000, and then they all went to jail.
Oh man,
line them up.
yeah, and
but like on that end, like, don't you expect to get caught, like, when you're doing something like that? Like, what's your thinking when you're doing something like that? Of course you're gonna get caught.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
Yeah.
trust me,
That's
you
what
always think I can get away with it.
Yeah,
like that
That's
lady
tough.
who was Elizabeth with in charge of Theranos, the biotech company, and she was like the richest
Oh yeah.
female under the
Yeah,
age of 30.
yeah.
She's all like, that was a scam, dude. I remember
Yeah.
looking at him like, what? She's
That's
like my age,
crazy.
27, 28, worth like $3 billion. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then 3
That
years
was on
later,
Netflix,
it's like,
right?
nope, she's gone, dude. She cheated.
Hey, she took her money and she got out.
Yeah.
Good
just like the CARES Act. Dude, I don't really want to talk about that right now. Yeah, so then so you guys are talking about financial advisors, essentially the ones who work for banks. I know this is not a news source, but I remember I was watching an episode of John Oliver where he talked about investment bankers and why some of them just aren't legit unless they're fiduciaries, and they will make money off of your interest, especially your compound interest. So you give them the money, they take it in turn to invest in what they want, build off of your interests. And according to the facts or the stats that he had, people were losing about 2/3 of their money that they were investing. So essentially the video says don't trust these investment bankers, because you know just as much as they do if you do a quick Wikipedia WebMD search,
Great success. Very nice. US and day. Give them your money, lose everything. Very nice. I like.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with the banks. When you invest in a bank, what do you think they're doing with your money, right? They're going in and they're investing it, and they're giving you like 0.00001%, and they're making like 5% off your money, right?
Mm.
I mean, it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, when people found out that Wells Fargo was backing the Keystone pipelines, people were pissed. People actually protested against that.
Rightly so, too. I mean, heck, especially with, Wells Fargo is, they've been around for so long, but they keep needing to get bailed out. Kind of funny.
Yeah, if only we had a certain type of way to save our money that isn't tracked by big banks.
Bitcoin.
In like a network that secures it with something like blocks building upon each other,
Yeah, or just have
Like
the
a whole
government
chain of 'em.
bail us out.
Yeah.
Exactly. I like where you're saying there,
But
Robert.
if only there was a way, if only there was a currency that wouldn't get inflated, man.
And it was for the people.
Yeah, made by the people.
Wonder what that would be.
Yeah, man, if only we lived in some kind of sci-fi universe where that can happen, right?
Well, and the other thing with the bank is they need to meet their quota, right? So since I worked at a bank, I understood like you've got to meet your weekly quota or else they fire you. Like there's no like, oh, you missed it by one, right? They just completely fire you, right? So a lot of people like Wells Fargo, they created their fake bank accounts, right? They created fake bank accounts, they created fake loans because they're under that pressure where it's like, if I don't create that, I'm fired. So yeah, they'll go and they'll create it. They'll put $1 in your bank account. They'll put like, $10 in your loan, whatever it is. And that was another big reason why Wells Fargo was on the news, because they were out there creating a whole bunch of fake accounts. But on their end, it's like, well, you have that pressure to continue to meet your quota or else you're fired. And people coming out of high school, coming out of college, it's like, yeah, we're going to do that, right?
Yeah.
I need to make money to pay for this stuff. Like, I'm not going to be fired. So yeah, I'll create a bank account, So I've heard plenty about.
So my friend, he worked at Wells Fargo during this time, and he told me to open up a checking or savings account, and he'll put $25 in there, and I could just transfer the $25 credit to my regular account, and then they could shut it off the next month. And as long as I keep shutting off by the month, then nobody would get charged, and he will meet his quota. Of course, that led to a lot of problems when people forgot, or people asked like, "Where's that money come from?" And he's just like, "Oh, I don't know."
Exactly.
A lot of these big banks were doing things like this to cover their own asses, even though they swindled a bunch of money off of people.
Yeah, and I had been in bank. He had been in banking for about 30 years. He told me it hasn't changed since 30 years ago. You go, you show up, you meet your quota, or else you're fired. So I see why people did it. You're desperate. You need a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, what's the end point? Like, even if these banks, you open 100 million accounts with $1 in it or whatever, it's like, just be, you got to be reasonable. But like people that make decisions on the high end, they're not thinking about what's going on with the low end. It's like what these people on the low
It's
end.
very disorganized. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
I remember reading about it, and the only people who went to jail were the lower managers, the higher ups, and the CEO at the time of Wells Fargo. They only got slapped with a fine. None of them did jail time except for the lower managers who
Which they could afford, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's typically what happens, right? Like these big corporations, like the top dogs, they just get slapped, they get cut, but they get like a huge separation package, right? That's usually the case. They just kind of walk free. Here you go, take this money.
$100 million.
yeah, take $100 million and walk away. He's like, cool, I'm good.
Yeah, I'll just be vice CEO now instead of the real other CEO. That's exactly what happened. They would transfer to a different department, and they just like slap to the wrist, or they just have another puppet stand in.
Yeah, it does. It kind of comes down to what Jeremiah or Rocky was saying earlier.
Thanks, Rocky.
Like you're pressured in that position, right? You are pressured.
Exactly.
It's like you don't have a job, and coming back to what the podcast, right? It's like your personal finance. Like if I lose this job, I don't have any savings, right? Like what do I have in savings? Like $100. That's gonna last me a week. Or maybe 2 weeks with like top ramen and hot dogs or something, But like, that's it, And I think a lot of people nowadays is the same kind of boat, right? Personal finance. Like a lot of people don't have money saved, don't have money invested in like Robinhood or or crypto. Definitely not crypto, right? So I think a lot of people should get into investing in themselves and doing it themselves, dude.
Yeah, it's because like crypto, stocks, bonds. They explained it to us in Redwood. I know for a fact because
really,
I remember not listening. I was like, bonds, fuck this.
I don't remember.
I remember being in class. No, he was a football coach because I remember what was his name? He had glasses, a little bald spot.
Mr. Hubert, I thought did
imagine what is Shefferly? Imagine Jan with glasses. That's basically him.
Oh yeah, Shefferly did economics, right?
I remember Shefferly in that class telling us about economics because I remember just like. What was he doing? I think I was like too busy worried about trying to get drunk that weekend. But
you guys got drunk in high school? Man, you guys were ahead of the game, man.
But Shefferly told us the first day of class. Yeah. If you're under 21, you can't drink it in America. You can't promote.
No, we were above 21, of course.
Yeah. Of course.
21 year old in high school.
I didn't pass high school the first time.
Did you pass?
4 years later, you did, right?
This close. I made it through. I'm good. I ain't good at homework.
He got crypto money. He good.
Oh, man, he's got a billionaire, man. Yeah, he probably created cryptocurrency.
I mean, hey, man, I broke out in handcuffs a couple times. I'll be honest, but I worked my way out.
Dude, he's wearing a watch. He's fine. Don't worry about him. He has Wi-Fi. He's not using McDonald's. All right.
He was watching now.
Oh, bro, you got to be cuffed up,
Yeah. But Shefferly, he taught us about finance. I remember that for a fact. He taught us about bonds. He taught us about stocks. And he, on the first day of class, I remember him saying, open up a Roth IRA. He's like, if there's any, he said, if you learn anything in this class.
Wait, can you explain what that is? I don't know what that is.
So a Roth IRA is basically a savings fund. You need about $5,000 and you can go to any big banks like Wells Fargo, give them that $5,000, and then they will take that money in turn to invest in whatever they want, like the Keystone Pipeline. And, and they'll use that money to invest and then accumulate interest over time. And you have to keep adding to it every month. You can do either aggressive or just passive. Like you can go like $50 or however you want in it, compound interest, you gain some money. It's basically a savings account on steroids.
Pretty good.
And I remember him saying that a savings account won't get you any kind of money. So get a Roth IRA. And I just remember like, I don't fucking need a Roth IRA. I'm 17 and a half. I don't need it. And look at me at 30.
Wait, Eric, can I add on to that though? Because like that's pretty impressive because a lot of high schools like that I've seen, they don't talk anything about investments, anything about money. And that's what I've always wondered because no one's ever talked to me about money, like not about savings. Checking accounts, investments.
Yeah,
nothing.
We really need to do better about that.
So when you were saying that, I was like, that's pretty impressive because, and okay, well, I don't know if we're gonna get this far into it, but it's like a bigger agenda about not letting the normal class, like lower class, know about how to invest, how to save money. Because why is that not in a direct subject in school, right? But you're saying that they
I
do
think
talk about
parents.
No, we
would
did
get
learn
you
it.
in the
We
way
did
of that,
learn.
dude. No,
Because Robert was
I
there.
think parents.
Robert
I
was
think
there,
parents would get
right? Robert,
way too in
you
the
were
way of
there.
that. Like, why are you telling?
Yeah, I was. I
Dude,
mean,
like,
we're in the same class, actually.
Dude, no, Redwood,
That's pretty good.
Redwood was a good school. They taught me a lot about checking and savings.
Really?
Except I was
That's
too,
cool, man.
except
If
I
you
was
had that in high
too, I
school.
was too worried about fucking throwing parties and trying to be
I was in a
Mr.
different
Ranger.
class, I guess, because I didn't learn anything about
Yeah.
checking accounts or anything.
Yeah,
Well,
I
dude,
definitely remember the Roth IRA part where it was like, oh yeah,
no, like Redwood was a good school if you had the right teachers. And you had the wrong teachers. Some of them were racist, homophobic, fucking just shitty teachers. Not all of them, just a couple of them. There were even a few that people try to kick out by signing protest sheets or whatever. But
Let's be honest though, they split economics and civics into like half a semester each.
Half
So
semester,
like
correct.
they did teach us about it, but it was definitely not a valid like push in, you know. And I think Rocky has a great point there. Is our
Tell me,
schooling
Rocky.
system is made to not teach us about
Exactly.
finance.
Why not do
It's made
that
to
for
breed war
every
horses.
4 years, right? Why are you gonna
Yeah,
teach
you
us
know.
half a semester worth of what we're gonna try and survive for the next 50 years, right?
And,
Yeah.
I
you
feel
know,
like
I mean,
parents
not
too
would
to
much
bitch
logic.
too
That's
much,
too much
dude. I
logic,
feel like
bro.
parents would bitch too much. But good for you, Eric, if you had that in high school,
I
man.
know, right?
Stuck
That's
in
pretty good.
I got
agree,
stuck
too.
in sex ed, dude. I couldn't even figure out what was going on there for 4 years.
Hey, that's
That's as
important
far
too,
as I
man.
got. Yeah, I didn't get past that. So good for you, man.
Well, I mean, you guys didn't learn how to write checks in high school?
No,
Well, I learned
I
that from my
remember
dad.
that part.
I don't remember that.
Or how to read checks on the bottom.
I didn't learn anything about that until I
No.
started.
Dude.
You know, the best teacher I've ever had is Google. Like, how do I do that?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
What's my account number? Where did I find my account number on the check? Like,
What's a routing number, man?
what's a Roth IRA? What's Robinhood?
Yeah.
But
IRS.
I mean,
Who is IRS?
How to avoid
Roth
IRS?
Roth IRAs really cracked me up because it's the same concept as like if you were to do dollar averaging into a cryptocurrency or a stock. That's all they're doing is they're taking your money
Yeah,
and
they're
investing
charging
it.
you a fee for it.
Dude,
Yeah.
I need to
Yeah,
open
we're-
up a Roth IRA. That's been on my to-do list for so long because I can day trade tax-free in that bitch, dude.
Mm.
Right now, on my
I don't know about
401ks, it's only
tax-free.
index funds and shit. But like in an Roth IRA, I can play with stocks on a daily basis, dude, and day trade there and not pay
Mm.
fucking tax.
So would you guys rather
So I
have
need to do that.
So would you guys rather have a Roth IRA or invest in index funds? And
Yeah, you invest in yourself.
yeah.
Just go for it.
Index funds.
And does anybody want to
Go
Go
explain?
to the index funds.
Yeah, what are index funds? Who wants to pick that one up? Rocky?
No, I think Jan's got it down.
Go ahead, Jan.
Yeah. Jan. It's
Jan-
Jan, actually.
Jan.
Jan.
It's not
Yeah.
it's not Jan
So
from finance?
Well, yeah, sure. You can go. No, remember, you're gonna edit
Silent
it out.
J.
And I'm gonna be
Yeah.
Goku. I'm gonna be Goku from Dragon Ball Z the whole time. That was my code name, so the government doesn't ever find this video.
Exactly,
Yeah,
right?
no, so index funds are pretty much just groups and baskets of stocks that track an index, such as the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq, and it's all the companies that make up that fund,
Yep.
right? That's essentially the definition of an index fund. I suggest you put your money there and hold it, man, for 5 years. My index funds that I bought 6-7 years ago are just outperforming everything. The returns are crazy. Just be ready to hold, you know? Have you guys gone through, did anybody have money in during this COVID correction and watch that shit erase 40%? Did you guys stomach
Yes.
that?
Yeah, I
Yes.
did
Got
see
it right
Yeah,
after.
that was,
yeah.
Did everybody hold or did anybody
I
panic and
invested in
sell
February, the day before it happened, man.
right before it
What?
happened? Did you hold though, or did you panic and sell?
I held. It took me 4 months to get my money back.
Mm.
Good for you, man. You held. I'm proud of you,
$8,000.
dude. So many people. Dude, I hyperventilated. I held through that shit too, man. I was freaking out. My mom's office was like,
I
"Fuck,
lost
40% of my money's
$8,000
gone."
in 1 day, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna just hold it. 4 months later, finally
dude.
broke even.
What'd you invest in? What I missed that
in
part.
Tesla?
Oh,
Wait, what are you
We're
investing?
talking about the COVID correction in March, April that happened when the stock market fucking
Yeah.
tanked 40%.
I invested
dude.
right before
Wow.
That
that.
was nuts.
wow.
In like 2 weeks, dude. It just like,
It was
oh shit.
crazy.
I had a friend who had like 1,800 stocks, or 18, I think it was 18,000 stocks in Boeing that he got when he retired.
Oh no.
Because he used to work for him as like an engineer or something. And he had almost $1 million, and then the COVID crash hit, and he lost like $800,000 on it. And I was just thinking,
Oh, he's probably way up though now, right?
fingers crossed, airlines aren't exactly thriving at this moment, but you know,
They
they're
just
going
started
to
coming
eventually.
back 2 weeks ago. They just
on
with the,
that
with the
sense,
vaccine news, they're coming back.
They're
yeah.
asking for another bailout, I believe.
Fuck them, don't
I think
bail
they're
them out.
asking for a
Surprise.
bailout. Yeah.
But the
They need more
bailouts.
fucking money from me.
Yeah. So you guys are throwing around you guys are throwing around all these numbers, like these big banks are investing all this money, Tesla's making all this money, and now you guys are saying how you guys lost money. These kind of stories.
But you don't really lose it though, you know, because
Because you hold and then you come out as
you
the
just-
king and you're like, fuck you, yeah.
you just leave
It's a
it, right?
cycle.
But hold on. But
I
to
don't know about that.
but to like an average person, like say somebody I don't want to say Vaselia because they keep saying Vaselia, but to an average person who's not financially literate, and you hear about all these big companies coming in and out, these stocks, cryptocurrency, blockchain, what is it? Silk Road. Actually, Silk Road has nothing to do with that. I just want to throw it back in there. But like, you guys are throwing all these numbers, and then you hear stories about average Joes who try to invest and they lose money in the stock market. Like this is overwhelming. It can be intimidating for somebody to step into it.
Oh yeah.
So how?
Yeah.
I had a bunch of friends, man, who lost money in the market. Remember I told you, and I got them started on Motley full, like 3 of them, dude.
Mm.
They'd go out and get drinks at like Dave and Buster's one night, and then go be like, yeah, I'm gonna buy Dave and Buster's stock and spend $3,000 and like watch a tank. Just like dumbass, dude, you know. And and I told them to get on Motley full.
So, but that's the other thing is like obviously there's so much to learn about the stock market. I mean, when you invest in a company, you either just throw your money in there and hope for the best, or you actually learn about like what it's gonna do in the future. Because if you're really invested in it, you don't want to just throw your money in random companies if you don't know what's gonna happen.
But all I'm saying is, what's the point? Why should an average Joe like me invest and take all this risk? Why should I not give my money to an investment banker and just fucking pay the fees? Or why is this better than say a 401k
those investment bankers, Eric, the way they get paid is they get paid to sell you an investment package that is most lucrative and profitable for them at that time. They don't actually care for your future and interests. They're just paid to sell you literally the package that their bosses are telling them are most lucrative for that bank. So I think it's a conflict of interest having them manage your money, to be honest.
Yeah, so it's almost, let's go back to the whole Wolf of Wall Street stuff. They don't care if it makes money or not. They're still going to make their money on you, right? So you might as well do the research and invest in it on what you believe is going to make money, right?
Yeah,
So-
they have a goal to hit, right? They have something else than just making you money. They want to make money off of you, right? So
Yeah.
even if you don't make money, they still make money. So I mean, like for me, like why would I do that for? You know, I'd rather spend, an hour looking at the world's best teacher in Google and just look on there and figure out what I need to do. Start off small, right? Going off what I said earlier, like I just started looking at download Robinhood in 2016. Started looking at small investments.
Yeah, you got in early, Robert.
Yeah, but like at the same time, I've always been a little scared, right? Like I don't gamble, and I didn't have a lot of money back then too. But like I think my initial deposit was like $300, and like I was scared, so I didn't know what stocks were, right? So like I knew, obviously a little bit, but like how do you trade and all this stuff? What does this all mean? And that's when I got into like penny stocks, right? Just to figure things out and like how to do it. And then once you get comfortable with it, you can go bigger,
Exactly.
And so like I think that's how I started off, and just kind of use the internet, just to learn about trading stocks and be responsible. The financial responsibilities are crazy though, like quick story, right? Like at the company I used to work for, some company invested some $12 billion into us, and then we got paid out, and some people became instant millionaires once they got paid out. They've been there for 5+ years. Some dude got drunk the night, partied so hard, bought a Tesla, woke up next morning, bought a Tesla, didn't know who got Teslas. Right? That's just like financial responsibility, right? It's like, dude, like you're just blowing money. Like,
yeah.
think about it, be humble about it. Like, okay, you have money now. Like, what do you got to do to make yourself more rich? And I think about that all the time. Like, if I win the lottery, man, like, I'm going to try and invest that and make more money, not just splurge and buy a bunch of random shit that now I'm going to want to buy more random shit,
Well, and that's why they say a lot of people that win the lottery go broke within 5 years, because they get all this money and they don't know how to financially be responsible about it. Well, the same thing with NFL players, NBA players, they get like $100 million and it's gone in like a year because
fucking three yachts, 5 mansions, girls, 10 kilos of blow. Yeah, gone real fast.
Trip to Rio de Janeiro, stuff like that.
Silk Road,
So what you guys are saying, that for an average person who doesn't know too much about finances or doesn't know what they're going to do with their retirement, that the key thing is financial responsibility, and they should be financially responsible to take a hold of their own financial future, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
For some people,
I mean,
it's hard for them to understand that too, though, right?
Yeah.
How?
What would you say to someone, or what would you give, and what kind of advice would you give to somebody who wants to start this or wants to start even thinking about a financial future?
I mean, things I'd like to throw in there, because I might lose my internet connection again here, and it may not come back. Learning about this stuff it's investing in your future. And I think that one of the most important things you can do is just that. And, giving your money off to somebody to invest for you, you're not learning the responsibility of the power you might gain there. Let's all be Spider-Man with this. Financial literacy is how we grow to be proper adults. If we don't learn that, and we don't learn how to control our money and make it work for us, we're not learning anything. And that's what we have to do. Is I think my job every day is to learn something new. Every day I go to work doing the same bland thing, I try to take something new from it. And if I can learn something about financing and learn something new every day with it, I think that's the biggest investment in the future. And as a guy who has been all the way to rock bottom living in my car and having to build all the way up to now I'm getting married in April, I have
Are we invited, by the way?
Sandals, my friend. I always recommend that.
Yeah.
But that's why learning about this stuff is so important, and then seeing how cryptocurrency is the future. If you think that we're going to be handing dollars and pennies across the table 5 years from now, we're not paying attention, and that's what I think the most important thing is, finding the coins that are going to have utility through our own research, not just because across the table told me that that's what I should do.
That was really good. I agree. You got to keep learning, man. It's part of becoming an adult.
Every single day.
Yeah. On that point, when you're learning about your financial future and what to do with your money, be careful of MLM scams and crazy financial interest groups. So I want to put that out there.
Marketing? Is that what you're talking about? Pyramid schemes? MLM?
Pyramid schemes. Yeah. Be careful with your money there are a lot of companies out there who will try to invest your money, and basically they're just a group of investment bankers or financial analysts or financial advisors,
dude.
schemers.
Schemers.
Yeah, because they have an alternative agenda compared to what you do.
If you have to buy a package to start investing, I would say no. I would say no.
Educate yourself. Take some classes first. Talk to some people before you start. Watch some YouTube videos. Sign up for a class at junior college about investing and finance basics. I think that's where you should start. And diversify. That's really the one word. Spread your money around. I think if you do,
we have our tools.
The internet, of course, is just endless, right?
Just don't spread them to MLMs groups, because you don't want to go there. If you have to recruit to make money, don't do it.
Wait, Eric, let me ask a general underlying question though. So say we make millions, right? We millionaires, billionaires, trillions, whatever.
We lost Josh, right? We lost Josh.
Oh yeah, he's Josh. I guess you got to go back to that original goal, is why you got in the game in the first place. So why is that? What is the end goal in a sense? I think that's I think
the end goal is to have enough money to be able to live off your investments and not need a job and work, right? To be able to make enough off your investments, whatever your lifestyle is, $100,000, $200,000 a year. The goal is to have enough money in the bank and know how to make money off investments to hold your lifestyle forever, right? And not deplete that account.
Are you talking about selling your stocks or selling investments or dividends?
No, I'm just talking about having a pile of money that you can invest and trade with on a regular, semi-regular basis, whatever that means to you, enough to fund your lifestyle and not deplete your bank account, right?
Yeah.
So just to pay for your living expenses that you need for your lifestyle every year. I think that's the end goal.
Yeah, because this is what I wonder, because you hear about NFL players, you hear about NBA players, you hear about actors, right? They become multimillionaires in a day and they go on drugs, they go on all these different things. And my question always is, well, what is the end goal, right? Like, why did you get it in the first place? Because, yeah, you become a millionaire, but is that really what you enjoy, right? Like, you enjoy, like, what do you enjoy on the base of it, without money? Like, I think that's the question I always ask is, like, even if you have $1 million, where is that thrill, because I think that's why people, and this is a question I always ask, this is why people do drugs, like do alcohol, because they're looking for that next thrill, right? And if you have $1 million or multi-million dollars, well, then what, like, and I always
do more drugs and more
Yeah.
alcohol and more music festivals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why, and that's why people always go on that spree, the drugs, the women, all that stuff, the $1 billion houses,
2 Teslas.
Yeah, because it's like, well, you have to have a base to keep you centered. And I think that's what helps about being growing up in Visalia, because when you go out into the world and you see how these millionaires and billionaires live, it's like, well, where's like the basis, like when you come home at night, is it family? Is it like, what's
your health, your friends, man, your hobbies,
exactly.
what makes you happy?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Money just helps solve problems, right? I mean, it makes life a little easier to move from point A to point B and not have stresses and stuff, but it's not everything. I mean, you could be a billionaire and have a bunch of health problems and like not be able to leave the house, and that would suck, right?
Yeah,
you could have no friends.
It's like what they say,
Like,
right?
ask Eric about that experience. He went through that phase for a while.
Yeah, it's like what they say, like money doesn't buy happiness, but damn, it sure does help, dude.
Yeah.
They say, it doesn't buy happiness, but this Lamborghini is pretty nice, right?
It sure does help, but like going back to what you're saying about these people who get a lot of money and then just blow it, on blow or something. Like it comes back to what we were talking about earlier too. Is like the education system, right? Like we don't learn about this stuff, and like when people see money, it's like, oh, cool, man. I didn't have money growing up. I'm just gonna spend it. I think that's part of the thing too. But yeah, I mean, like even in college, you're not forced to take an economics class. You're not forced to learn about personal finances, right? It's all optional, and it's really an educational thing too. But and curiosity, I guess, So
I don't know if we can get into this topic, but I do agree that we do have a certain institution where it does not promote financial intelligence. We, obviously when they big companies do, in my opinion, prey on college kids. The first thing people ask you when you're at school is like, do you want to sign up for a bank account? Do you want this credit card? And, then you get all these other companies like Capital One, Credit One, throwing you these credit cards with huge limits in them. So then you kind of dig yourself into a different hole. And I'll come yeah, right.
It's true, right? It's like they're like, oh yeah, don't use your credit card, only use for emergencies. Well, shit, going to this party's an emergency.
Going out to store my liquor, that's an emergency.
This
I can't show up to a fucking
My
party without any
freaking out. We don't have enough liquor for the party.
I know Belvedere ain't gonna pay for itself, man.
Swipe. Oh, being cute girl at the bar, swipe. Like, I mean, that just you just blow money because you're in college, you're young, you don't know any better, right? And like, I think, that kind of stems from the just educational system. It's like you don't get taught this personal finance or like,
and that's crazy, right?
What do they call like home economics, right? Or like some schools have home economics where they actually learn about stuff like this. We barely learned about it at our school, right? Like that's the only thing I remember from is Roth IRA.
I thought home ec was where you go to meet girls.
Hey, you can. Right?
Hey,
I guess you can.
no, wasn't it in our year where all the guys wanted to meet girls and took home ec, and it was only like one girl and a bunch of guys?
It's like the home cooking class or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's a lot.
But doesn't it feel like that there obviously it's a reason, right? Because there's a bigger agenda. I mean, yeah, we're going into conspiracy theories and stuff, but why, if that's the most important, like one of the most important things about after school, why aren't they teaching us that? And that question has been raised plenty of times, and it's very important, right? Because you have to know how to have a bank account, have a checking account, how to do a mortgage, how to do a car loan, and they don't teach us any of that. So
Yeah, dude, I had to look so much up on doing a mortgage. I didn't know until this year the freaking tax benefit of having a mortgage, the going from standard to itemized deduction, how huge that was for me. So when I looked at buying a house, because I ditched my place in San Mateo and I moved back up with my folks. And I think my long-term plan is to buy property in Silicon Valley and stay. But I'm not going to do it during this pandemic. But I started looking into a mortgage.
Also,
I
you
didn't
can
even know
only
about the tax benefit.
you can only deduct up to 10K though this year.
For your state taxes. California state taxes is a deduction. You can only deduct up to 10K on California state taxes. You get to deduct
It's
your
federal
property
too.
taxes and
It's
your
federal.
interest. These are federal deductions that I'm talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
California lets you deduct 10K plus you deduct property taxes, and the interest on your mortgage is deductible too.
Well, it used to be unlimited.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Yeah, California,
Yeah.
you can only deduct your state taxes.
yeah,
to
plus they
10K.
had the whole first home buyer tax
Yeah.
deductible, which they got rid of too.
This administration.
If you qualify.
Trust me, you saw in the podcast, right? How we talked about the tax rules and how they changed. Yeah, well, with this current administration kind of changed all that.
Changes every year. Yeah.
I don't want to get into it, but they changed the tax rules. It used to be unlimited. Now there's just a higher standard deductible, lower itemized. That's all it really is. It used to be unlimited. Now it's only 10K.
So do you guys have a monthly budget that you review on how much you're spending on going out, food, gas, utilities, rent, mortgage? Do you guys count your money every month?
Going out? Who's going out?
No.
Definitely
Robert,
not.
Who's going out,
Are you
bro?
shaking your head? Robert's not sure.
Definitely
Robert's
not,
shaking his
yeah.
head. What
I've
about
actually
Eric?
never
Do
done
you-
that. I've never done that.
Really? You guys should do
Yeah.
that, man. I pull how much I spend every month, and I have different buckets of money. I like to travel, so I spend like a ridiculous fuck ton amount on traveling.
I'm pretty conservative though, so
But like, yeah, but everything else, like my restaurants, bars, haircuts, all that stuff's in a pile of money, and I count that every month, man. I pull it out, export it,
that's pretty
add it
good.
up, and then I keep a budget, and I'm like, oh shit, the last 3-4 months I went over budget. Chill out, man. You don't need to buy your friends 18 rounds, or you know what I'm saying?
Hey,
You
where
guys
were
should
we
start doing
at?
that. Set some
Yeah.
limits and everything. You know
I'm
what
free
I'm saying?
next
But seriously,
weekend.
like it's easy to just not count
Yeah.
and just spend and spend, but like you just try and set some limits, you know, like, I mean, even if it's like, you know, what your savings goals are and everything, and count your money. I've been doing that for years, man, since I
Yeah,
was
I
in
think
college.
it goes back to what your end goal is, right? Because if you have a goal for like, let's say retirement in 20 or 10 years, whatever it is, it comes back to that based on what your monthly goals are.
Mhm.
So it is important.
Exactly. You
Yeah, it
know?
is important to have it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it makes the decision of like, am I going to go out with these friends and just have one beer? Or am I going to go out and have fucking 3 sets of wings, fried chicken, and 5 pictures? You know
Well,
what I'm
next
saying? Like,
weekend, feel
you can
free to
still
do
go
that
out and
next
have fun.
one. We'll be there.
But when the budget stays under for 3 months, I got you on like 18.
We're all
fried
flying to
chickens and shit.
Cabo
Like,
San
like,
Lucas right
shit.
now.
Yeah,
Well-
yeah, I got extra room.
I want to say that this conversation only really applies to people who have the ability to save. For those people who can't save due to certain institutional reasons, you know, we don't want to make them feel like a second
Well,
class
but they
citizen, you
can
know.
make it a target to save and still count, man. Even if it's $50 to $100 a month, and
Yeah.
they cut their expensive nail salon or like whatever, like they can make it a goal to save something, but they just got to count the money. It's gonna be tight.
But then
Right?
it comes down to it comes down. I'm gonna believe that out.
Who?
There. It comes down to what Rocky said. Like, what is your end goal? Like, is your end goal to save for your future, or should you spend that extra $100 on your kid's new bike? Like, what's more important? You know, it comes down to that. Like, of course, the ideal situation would be save a certain percentage of your income for a house and live in a house sharing your family. But then to some people, going on vacation, giving your kids stuff,
Yeah.
going out and drinking, that is more, and people are willing to give up that house dream for that dream and rather live in an apartment.
And like you said, there's many goals, right? I mean,
Yeah.
not everybody has the same goal to own a house, to have a family, to go to college. I mean, there's so many goals. So it just comes down to what you want, right? At the end of the day.
Yep.
Guys, I got to say, I kind of prepared for this. So I brought some props. So I got a book here.
Show us.
We were talking about stocks, right? Stocks and investments. So I actually read this book, and you had asked why I started investing, right? Because I was finding that like when I was at work, right, I was like having trouble spelling basic words, like your basic words. And I was like, yeah, because I haven't read in 20 years, right? So I started reading, and I started reading autobiographies about successful people and how they did it, right? Like what was their initial goal. So I started on Steve Jobs, I started on Elon Musk and different things. And it's so crazy because we were talking about goals and what their goal was. And a lot of people say this, right? A lot of people say this. It's not about money, right? That's like, it's not about money. But obviously, it's always about you have to support your family, you have to support yourself and stuff. But when you read these books about these different people, their end goal isn't money. It's going to the moon. It's going to like saving the forest. It's going to like renovating technology. And the end goal, yes, you make money, right? They make money, and it's hard to believe like, okay, my end goal isn't money when I'm making $100 million a year, whatever. But like a lot of these people, like that's why I started reading all these books like Elon Musk. And yes, I prepared for this, Eric. That's why I brought these books up. Sam Walton, right? Because when I'm reading these books, it's not about money. Like it's about what they enjoy. It's about the end goal is a goal. It's not money, and it is hard to believe. But like us coming from Visalia, like, it's like, well, yeah, the end goal is always money. I want to be a millionaire, billionaire, but it's crazy how they think, and that's kind of when you leave Visalia, it's like their goal is different.
Would you say that financial responsibility and financial intelligence is tied into socio-economical classes, or is it institutionalized? Or do you think, because, in my opinion, I think
classes partially,
yeah,
I mean, partial. I think it's partial.
This is America, man. I mean, this country really still is, well, I'm Mexico, but in America, it really still is the land of opportunity. Like you can come there, you have to be smart and work hard. Anybody can make it in that country, man. I see poor people from the poor village in Mexico here, dude. Like these people don't have the opportunity. They didn't go to school, man. Like if you go to the villages in Nepal and Laos, I mean, I've traveled all over the world, dude. I just look at these people. In USA, you have fucking opportunity. You could be dirt poor and like walk to school every single day, and you can make it in this country, man. Like you got to be smart, work hard. There's also right place, right time, right? That you don't even
have to go to school to make it here in America.
No.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying, though. But it's definitely easier if you have a fucking master's of engineering from MIT than if you have a high school degree, right?
It's not a TikTok. You need a booty.
But it's also perspective, right?
Is financial responsibility tied in your social class? Like,
yes, it is mostly, but there's still opportunity for it not.
I'm not saying there isn't opportunity. I'm just talking about.
Yeah, I think it mostly is. Mostly.
Yeah.
Like, because of course we know with the today's age, we're on, we're built on this world of cheap thrills. Quick access thrills, spend money, get it, Lamborghinis, stuff like that. A rush. That's our drug that we're chasing.
EDC.
Dopamine.
EDC.
Or dopamine,
that's
yeah.
what it's been. VIP,
Rock
EDC,
concert.
bottle service. Yeah. Have you guys, Robert, Rocky, have you guys been to Electric Daisy Carnival?
No, I've seen Eric go though.
Yeah, I've been with Eric probably like 7 times.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good time. Well, I got in a lot of rock concerts though.
Fiscally irresponsible for a college student, but it is a good time.
But so much fun, but spiritually very responsible. It's a healing, man.
And in that moment in time, EDC was more important than having 2 months of rent in my bank account, And that was, I made that decision.
It was more important than a lot of things in life, man. It was more important than a lot of things in life for me too, for sure. That shit changes your life, man. Electric daytime. I should attended the EDC Zoom call. We'll get into that. We'll do that one another night, Eric, with different zippers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and I think that's the crazy thing about it is the goal, right? Everyone has their own goal. It doesn't matter if you're poor, right? If you're still enjoying life, then what does it matter if you have millions of dollars? I mean, as long as you're enjoying it, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good point too.
It just comes down to perspective too, like Jan was saying. We have it so good, you know, even in Visalia. I mean, compared to other parts of the world, it's like
Exeter.
Hey, Exeter is actually pretty high.
Exeter's pretty nice, yeah. Kyle Exeter. Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, Exeter is a nice town. I go to Rocky Hill and go up the hill.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Rocky.
No, I mean the Central Valley has a lot of money, dude. And that's one thing people forget. Agriculture. Yeah,
from when I was working, see that. I mean, there's a lot of people that are millionaires in Visalia because I saw their bank accounts, you know. But then you just like you think about it, right? And you interview like you're doing right now, right? You interview these people, you read about them, you think about how they did it, and it's possible. I mean, just think about, okay, well, let's just do exactly what they did, and it's just a goal, right? That's what it comes down to. Do you want that to be your goal, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah, of course. I mean, everybody knows Visalia has money. So now you think about it, like let's look at the map of Visalia, and you see where all the rich people live, and you see where the poor people live. And would it be surprising that, say, the schools decided to not teach financial responsibility and just leave it up to these neighborhoods or these communities to teach them that? Would be a crazy conspiracy theory that they want to make people not fiscally responsible so they don't move up in social classes or move into those neighborhoods?
Definitely, conspiracy theory, right? But I mean, if you do look into it too, you could see that's a possibility, right? It's like, like a private school, like let's say like CVC. What do you think they're learning about, versus like, Redwood, or like, what's the difference between the north side and the south side? Like,
Yeah.
who are neighbors? Where they get.
I agree in some parts of the USA it happens.
Yeah.
I agree some parts it doesn't though. Probably certain districts and counties.
Yeah, the gated community parts it happens. That's where let's look at my life, for example. I grew up poor and I have a couple of friends who are millionaires. I have a lot of friends. We all have friends who are millionaires, and you guys know them too. And my friend, I can use his name, but let's call him Dan. My friend Dan. His parents are millionaires. And he was talking about stocks in high school. And whenever my dad would talk about stocks, he was like, oh man, I own some stocks. But he wouldn't go into details, but all he knows is the basics. Like, you buy some stocks, you can get rich. But Dan knew a lot lot and in his family, it was taught about how stocks and financial responsibility worked. For me, it was more worried about, my dad would teach me stuff like, you buy a stock, you get lucky, you get rich. Not if you buy a stock, or before you buy a stock, you do research, investigate to see which company go up. But my family is more worried about buying immediate goods to turn over for a restaurant, or buying stuff that will satisfy the family in that moment, and not about savings. And of course they taught my parents that if you keep your money in your bank account, you're accumulating interest, which is bullshit. Now that we learn, I've actually lost more money in interest on all my bank accounts than I've gained. And I started an Acorns, also not sponsored by Acorns, but I started an Acorns app, and I've actually gained like $20-$30 on Acorns, and that's more than I ever gained in my bank accounts. But then
need an interest on bank accounts are just
so bad. But then this is
put
the
your money in a CD, like put your money in a certificate of deposit if you're just gonna let it sit there, man. At least get like 1 or 2%.
Well, I might as well just buy an index fund at that point. But anyways, it's just like we're taught this myth, about where you put money into a big bank and the big bank will pay you for it. And this is just a theory, but it could be that all the less fiscal intelligent communities were all taught this, and this is what we believe. So they put the money in the bank and use whatever money they can just to buy goods, or flashy goods like cars and rings and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, coming back, it goes back to what Rocky was saying earlier. It's like, what are your priorities? Like, you know, for like same thing, right, Eric? Like, you know, when you live on the poor side of town, it's like, I mean, we're neighbors too with Rocky, but like a lot of things was like, oh, what can you do for your family? Like, you
Just
know,
to
that
survive,
money comes
right?
in to say, yeah, it's to survive, like get some food or like buy some new clothes for the school year or, you know, like the times we went shopping was like once a year when the school started, you know, it's like,
Old Navy.
yeah,
Factory to
maybe,
you.
yeah, factory to you
Yeah,
before they
factory to
shut
you,
down.
man. Yeah.
But yeah, you know, like, but nowadays it's like, huh,
Yeah. And the majority of us lived in
different.
single income households.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
You don't learn that stuff that you know, your friend Dan learned at all. You don't even know about that. You hear about, like, you hear it from the news or somewhere else, like, and then even that's been like kind of what you say. Oh yeah, you buy some stocks and maybe you'll make money. You know,
Mhm.
you don't learn about anything else. It's just that. It's like, oh, dude, I don't even have money to make money, so
yeah.
I'm just gonna make money
Yeah,
and buy food.
my parents invested. My dad day trades options a shit ton too, so I could talk to him about it as well. I definitely was fortunate enough to have parents who were pretty financially literate, so I knew that stuff was out there for sure. But I also graduated with a degree in international business and I had finance in school. So in college, they grilled us on stocks, bonds, CAPM, pricing models, and just a bunch of shit. I had to pass that class.
Well, that's because you seeked out for that degree. So you seeked out for
Yeah.
that education.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did for sure. Yeah, definitely. So, but that's when that's when I retained the most information. I took that class like junior and senior year in college. I had international finance too, but that business finance class is like everything, how to manage your money. And it was pretty intense, dude. The tests were tough. A lot of people, it was a weed out class. A lot of people failed and dropped out of college because of that class. Yeah, they made it pretty tough.
But I also think the cool thing is now we know about it, right? I mean, all of us on this chat, we all know about it. And that's the thing about even having this podcast is, you know, interacting with other people that are thinking the same way. So now that you're aware of it, what's to stop you from teaching everybody else, you know, and teaching them future generations? Maybe we didn't know about it 20 years ago, but now we do. And actually, you know, in a non-discrete school district that I work at, I actually did start work. I actually did start teaching them. Yeah, because I was thinking the exact same thing, and I was like, why didn't we learn any of this stuff about checking accounts, about mortgages, about loans, right? So this year I started teaching them, and they're like maybe fourth and fifth graders. And I was thinking, man, if you guys start this early, I mean, it's unstoppable. I mean, even your basics about loans and cars and stuff. I mean, I didn't learn about that till 25, you know, so they're going to be way ahead, you know, and it's like, well, now that we know about it, well, let's continue to teach them, you know, to get out of that situation, you know.
Wait, you didn't learn about loans in college?
No, I didn't learn about anything in finance in college.
Me either. Yeah.
You guys didn't take out loans? I had to take out loans.
No.
Oh yeah, I took about
I mean,
$1 million worth of loans, but I didn't learn anything about them.
yeah, you take out a loan, but you have no. Oh, cool! I have some borrowed money, like I can spend it now.
I'll be paying those loans
I
till I'm
could trade
dead.
and hustle this and double it real fast and then give it back to the bank, half of it.
Yeah.
And that's another dangerous thing about
That's a dangerous thing.
you just go and you take them out, and it's like, I don't know anything about this, and here we are 10 years later, and I'm like, man, I'm never gonna pay these things off, man.
What's that? Marginalized trading with your life.
Yeah.
I should have done that, dude. I went to college right in 08 when everything fucking crashed, dude. If I'd sort of bought in 09, everything would have soared and I would have gotten out and been like, cha-ching.
Yeah.
Millionaires. Yeah. FOMO, man.
Well, is it, you know, obviously it's a good thing for the internet because now people who grew up in this kind of community where financial intelligence wasn't a thing, now they can learn about it, you know. And obviously, what Robert and I we talk a lot about FOMO, how we got into this super late, and now we have this fear of missing out. And obviously, Jan's been preaching buy low, hold if it falls, and that's some good advice.
Yeah.
What other advice?
That shit's hard, man. You got to be able to stomach it, man.
Oh, yeah.
I've gone through a couple corrections. Brexit was a big one. Brexit was another big one. At the back end of 2018, shit tanked like 30% too. So I'll tell you guys this about corrections. Typically, I looked at all of them back from the beginning of the stock market. And typically, it's like 2 years to recover. This COVID like loop like this in 4 months, yeah, that had never happened before. There was one, the dot-com bubble of 01. Y'all, It took 14 years for the stock market to recover where it was in the crash of 01. 14 years you would have had to hold your goddamn money, you know, for it to recover. So just be careful. I think this is a bubble again, dude. This shit just keeps going up.
Oh yeah. Oh
for,
yeah.
Man.
For
It's
you
gonna
to
pop.
recover, not the big guys who hold the big bucks. They're good. They've been good.
They just
I
get
mean, you
pumped.
can
Yeah.
just buy put
You know how much
options. Somebody
money
was
they've
smart, just
made
bought
since
put
the
options.
coronavirus hit?
They have never lost money. They've gained money. They've
They've
like
made billions of dollars since March.
yeah. The more people who've sold their stocks when the stocks crashed, they bought most of the stocks out with
if you
their
have cash on
bailout
side.
money. These motherfuckers, dude.
Making money on money.
Square's made a fuck ton of money this year off this pandemic. It's
But-
kind of been nuts. Y'all
but
take
you
a look
know-
at their earnings report.
You know what they were saying was a big difference of this crash was a lot of Generation Z and millennials got in on this crash. Like,
Yeah.
that's one thing that's driving this V-shaped economic recovery is all of us, right, putting our money into it. But why not, right? I mean, might as well if everyone else is making money.
Yeah,
It's a
both
bubble,
for money
dude.
and-
It could burst tomorrow. It could go for 5 years. Nobody fucking knows. So,
And that's what it goes back to gold, right? If you made your goal, get out, man, enjoy it.
yeah.
I've
Well,
had 3 runs in gold in the last 5 years, dude. I buy it sometimes, and then I once I sold it at 40%. This last one was like 80%, and then
Man,
once was like 20%. I've jumped in and out of gold a couple times when I saw it running and sold a bit. I never put a lot in, but
Well, I think a lot of companies are going to start bailing out of gold pretty soon and go into cryptocurrency.
that's a commodity, dude. It goes up, down, up, down, up, down. So good luck with that one. But I've done it 3 times successfully.
Well, it's just
I
more
did
like
watch it go down once. I bought it once. It fucking tanked. I held it, and then it skyrocketed back up.
well, I think it's just because like they fear that Biden will have more strict corporation rules or rules, less tax havens for corporations, which is why a lot of them bailing out in the stock market and going straight into crypto.
Yeah,
Plus
Square
the,
and PayPal are big
plus
in
the
crypto. I
stimulus.
just got a freaking article about PayPal putting like 70% of something into
Yeah.
Bitcoin, so they're both mining it.
well, I think the next stimulus too is going to skyrocket Bitcoin because of inflation. I mean, it's going to drive the dollar down. So that's why, you know, PayPal also opened up all these people to buy it. So that's what's driving it too. Of course, all of the Generation Z and millennials are buying Bitcoin because of fear of missing out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's driving it right now. But what's to say, oh man, these trillionaires, oh man, we've made our money. Let's just drop it, right? And there it goes, you know, it tanks, but it's always the risk, right?
But
Yeah.
if they drop it, then somebody else buys it, it's still going to hold that certain value or wherever the value of the market is.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it my friend Jesse told me? He told me that in the stock market game, someone's always losing money and someone's always gaining money. There's always a winner
Yeah.
and loser. There's no such thing as going even.
And y'all don't just need to buy stocks, man. Learn how to buy put options. That's shorting it, betting it's going to tank. You see the noise, music start to stop. Don't be afraid to buy a put option. If you guys want to get started with options, just literally the next step would just be Google a covered call option. Here's how it works. You own 100 shares of stock, okay? You're selling a call option, the right to sell it. Let's say you buy 100 shares at $40, okay? Spend $4,000. You're buying or you're selling an option to sell it at 45 a share after a certain amount of time, right? More money than, you know, what you bought it for. For this right, somebody's going to pay you $400, okay? So you suddenly went from spending $4,000 on this stock to spending $3,600 on this stock, right? The only thing is you're capping the gain. If it goes above 45, dude won. He's going to take his 100 shares, right? If it doesn't, then you just get to keep that 400 in the option.
But for
expired.
how long? So you set a time,
So you can-
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, you can set a
option
time.
contracts are good for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. So here's what I did, Rocky. I used to take them long term. I used to take them like 6-month options, and I'd get these big premiums. Longer the option, bigger the premium, right? That you collect. So, but I had them because they were Motley Fool picks. Motley Fool stocks would just soar through it, right? I'd be like, if I made 20% in like 3 months, I'd be happy. In like 2 weeks, it would just soar, right? So my options getting taken. What I do now, I pick literally the next closest option contract. So expiring December 9th, right? I don't think that this stock is going to gain 10% from December 9th. And then I get a smaller premium for that. I get like $80 instead of $400, right? And then December 9th comes, I look at what the price is on that day. I roll it over to the next option 2 weeks later that expires, and I collect smaller premiums. So I have flexibility to adjust and I don't lose that stock. right?
So,
But all of
so
this
do you
covered
look at like
all
the
right.
news? Do you look at like the background about what's happening with that company? Like if there's something completely
Yes,
spikes,
never
right?
buy and sell. Check before you buy and sell during earnings season, dude. You don't want to. You want to make the decision to buy or like during earnings season. Never like just say, "Oh, I'm going to sell the stock." You know, like this happened to me early in my trading days. I would just like, "Oh, dump the stock," and then it would soar 30% 2 days later on earnings. I was like, "Dude, I didn't even know the earnings call was in 3 days." Like, always check that before you're
Yeah.
buying and selling, right? But yeah, no, I do check the news for these companies. Motley Fool just summarizes everything for me on all the
Yeah,
investments
because
I
there's
know.
so many different things that affect the stock, right? I mean, you're
Mhm.
talking about the economy, the stimulus, the president's war, right? I mean, there's so many different things that affect it. So, in a sense, don't you have to do all that research before you go in on something like that?
Motley Fool has like 20,000 analysts crunching this shit all the time, and they just tell me, man. I do my own research too on their picks. I cross-check
Yeah.
it with Yahoo Finance Market Watch, look at what the company does, see if it makes sense to me, look at their financials, who their big investors are and all that. But definitely all that, like that you need a team of analysts to do all that
Yeah.
shit effectively, right? And I just pay for a service that kind of does that for me. So, but seriously, for the next step, guys, covered call options are really good because you're owning the underlying stock, you're buying an option against it. The only thing is you're capping how much you can make in a period of time. If you're happy with 20% on 3 weeks, you collect a small premium, you're just going to lower the cost of that stock.
So it's 20% on whatever you invest in, right?
I mean, you can set it at different prices. You could set it at like 80%, but your option premium may be like 1 cent that they're going to pay you for that contract because there's no way it's going to go up 80% in 2 weeks.
Wait, I thought you gained the difference.
You gain the difference from 40 to 45 on that example I gave. Yes, you get that. But if it goes to 50 and dude takes your shares, you could have made $50 if you didn't have that option, right? You would have made $10
It's a gamble.
share.
Yeah. Also, I want to warn that if you have a gambling addiction, don't do call options. Putting it out there right now. If you have a gambling addiction, actually don't even do stocks. Fucking don't do it. I don't want to.
So the day trading, guys, the day trading gets really addictive. I'm always like, no,
fun,
I
though,
lost
right?
on this round. I lost on this round. I'm going to sit it out for 2020. I made enough money. And then like 2 weeks later, I'm like, no, oh yeah, I made it back. Yeah. So like,
Well, can
it's
you?
really like checking
I do
it
the
every
same
day,
thing.
doing the orders.
Can you guys explain what day trading is?
Buying and selling orders every week, dude.
Yeah.
I do a couple orders a week, man. Buys and sells and just flip them, open options and everything. I'd say you're a day trader.
Especially like if you were saying like on earnings call, you know it's gonna skyrocket, right? Then just go for it and then make 5,000, 10,000 a day, whatever it is, and then sell it, right?
Sell it.
Earnings
because you just base it off of what the events are,
So what is an earnings call and what is earnings season? Let's clarify some terms.
So earnings call is when corporations close the book, Eric's, and they have to present to Wall Street and their big investors how much money they made, their revenues, their profits on all their different product lines, and their general business update to Wall Street and investors. Okay, it happens every quarter. So Q1 is January 1st through March 31st. Earnings season starts April 1st. Once they've closed the books through like middle of May, all the companies will have their earnings call with Wall Street and present how they did, and then stocks fluctuate. If they beat earnings and beat expectations, they fucking soar. If they suck, then they tank, right? So that's earnings call season. And you'll see,
in theory, right? In theory, because we all remember Enron.
No, actually, that was before my trading days.
Right?
It was before Jan. I don't know anything about Enron.
It was like 2006,
yeah.
2005, 2006.
Yeah, I started, what, 2012?
Yeah, because Enron is where they inflated their earnings, and then the stocks went up. A bunch of people sold their stocks, and then when they find out how much stock was really worth, it was done because they dumped their stocks.
And if you would have bought a put option against Enron when it was at the top, you would be fucking king, dude. If you would have shorted that bitch, it was just,
Yeah. So be careful.
It can go down.
Even on earnings,
go down, dude.
Yeah, even on earnings, like if you're expected to go negative on earnings, as long as you go a little bit above that negative, whatever they said, I mean, you're still doing good, right? Because
for sure.
You're above what negative is, what they said that was going to happen.
So let's talk about negative investments and like losing money, because it happens. I don't hit every trade, right? So aside from the day trading stuff, for an investor, somebody who's in it for the long term and everything, this is the advice I'd give. Review your losers every 6 months. There should be, if you bought it and it went red, that's okay. nothing should be sitting in your portfolio red for a year and a half to 2 years. If it's been a year and a half, you really should sell it, okay? 2 years, you shouldn't have anything. Maybe you wait 1 year, 9 months for it to recover, but every 6 months review it. If you bought it and it went red for 6 months, still hold. 1 year, start thinking about it, right? Year and a half, you should probably sell that investment, just dump it and move on.
Well, the same thing
it's a
in
hard nail to
December,
bite.
right? In December, for tax purposes, don't you want to sell off the ones that didn't make much money, right? You sell off your losses.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. If you have losers, yeah, definitely. And you made a bunch of money, you should sell off your losers. But seriously though, like a year and a half, I think is good, man. If that thing didn't recover in a year and a half and it's just sitting red and you check it every 6 months, I would just get rid of it. That's what I do.
Don't panic.
That's key.
Yeah, wait for a while. Yeah, that's key for sure.
Or don't wait forever.
That's
I don't
true,
want
too. Yeah.
Well, how about another thing about watching your investments every day? That gets tough, right?
Yeah.
Kind of depends on your job.
Well, I mean, you can wake up early and still watch it, right? I mean, it only takes a second to look in the app.
Well, it's just like fantasy football. You don't want to check your app every 5 seconds to see if it
Because
goes
then
up
you
or
get
down.
worried and then you want to panic sell it.
Don't
Yeah.
get discouraged.
Yeah.
I definitely spend 3 to 5 hours of my week looking at it, trading, hustling, and all that, depending on when my job gets busy. I have a super flexible job now. The last startup I worked for, I was pretty fucked, dude. I didn't have time to day trade. I was definitely screwed with way too much work. But this one, I have flexibility to do it, look at it, hustle it.
Even if you're in the red, you can still have a chance to make money. Just as a cautionary tale, there was that, I think, 20-year-old or early 20s in Texas where he was playing around with stock options in Robinhood and it went negative 200K. He thought he owed 200K, so he killed himself.
Wasn't it 800K?
Was it 800K? I was just 200.
No, I thought it was 800K. Yeah.
Wait, what happened? He went negative because he was playing options. Yeah, your losses can be unlimited with some options.
They gave him all the way up to about 800K, and then he lost it all.
He lost it all, and then he committed suicide. And it was obviously Robinhood didn't admit fault, or I don't think he even got charged for it. And it comes back
because he checked the terms and conditions when he fucking made an account saying you will not sue us. If you lose all your money, you're fucked on you. You will not, indemnify us.
That's where you got to be responsible and like do your research. Like,
you
what
put in what you can.
What is marginalized trading like? You got to understand that kind of thing. Like, you just don't. Oh, Robinhood, they just approved to give me $5,000 for it. Now I'm gonna trade it all, pump it all in, and oh shit, I just lost all that money. Now you're $5,000 in debt. You're dead. Well, I wouldn't kill myself for 5K, but 200,000 probably. Yeah.
It was like 800.
It was 800,000.
You leave America and you create a dummy bank account down here in Mexico, and your name is Juan instead of Jan, and you figure it out, man. You just don't go back to US.
That's what you're doing now, there, dude.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Jan from accounting.
I stole all these techies' money, and now I'm running and hiding down here. That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
He's down there in the Silicon Valley of Mexico. That's where he is.
Silicon Beach. That's what we'll call it.
Yeah, man. Just gotta be financially responsible.
Yeah, a lot of it's a lot of research, but like, speaking of the option stuff, I have a pretty good YouTube video about Robinhood stocks or options that I found pretty useful to help to explain a lot of things.
You trade options, Robert?
A little. Very little.
Okay. Cool.
Like earlier this week, I made like, for me, I don't trade much, but like I made probably like around $100 or so. I'm just buying,
collecting premiums or what?
Yeah. Like one there and EV. One was Blink and one was like something else.
There you go, Robert. He's getting on the EV train.
Yeah,
there it is.
Dude. So this is the part where it's like, damn, I sold way too early. I sold like 3 days after they went up, where I made like $50, but dude, if I would have sold them on Friday, I would have made a couple $100.
Oh man!
Hey, Robert, did you miss earnings? Was that what it was? Did they have their earnings call?
They just kept shocking, like going up. I should have looked at it and it's like, okay, like the earnings do look good. Like they've been pretty good, right? Every other quarter they've been above, and I was like, all right, cool, let me do it, and then. I kind of get that small little panic when they dipped like $1 or so. I was like, oh, right, let me get
$1, man, Robert.
Dude, I'm a small time trader. Right? So like they did, and I was like, I don't want history repeating itself with other stuff I've lost.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, let me sell for like $100, and I got it. And then obviously
Nice.
you miss out, but like like you do your research though, right? So you have to understand what you're getting into. But it could be a gambling addiction, you know, where you just I think it's gonna do this.
Oh fuck, dude! I just checked my Robinhood right now because you guys were talking
though,
about
right?
it. I was like, dude, I was checking it. I don't know. I think my crypto went up. I made like $60.
You're
Yeah,
Bitcoin?
the futures are up, right? Futures are up Sunday night, right?
Yeah, I think so. I
Up
look
in green.
because I was looking at it because like I didn't think it wasn't $60. It was like 40 or 50 bucks because it was like
That's funny.
$15 or something. $4.15. I looked at it, put it down, looked at it again. It was like $4.60. I was like, what the fuck?
Man, the volatility on that Bitcoin and the crypto is so crazy compared to stocks. I mean, the volatility is nowhere compared to the stocks. I mean, you look at it like 5 seconds later, it's up another $1,000. Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, be
Going-
careful because crypto is not covered by FIDA. The
FDIC.
Yeah.
They're not insured.
Well,
so-
I mean, but
Yeah.
FDIC is not going to cover you
Yeah.
if you blow all your money in the stock market anyway. That's
Yeah,
just if
doesn't
there's a run on
I
the
thought they
banks
cover
and
you.
the
I
cash
thought they
in
cover you if it crashes.
No, dude, you're
Yeah.
nobody's going to cover you. That's your risk. No, you're fucked. The government's not going
See,
to.
I didn't know this. I thought they did.
No.
Then what the fuck is the insurance for?
FDIC is just if you have $200,000 to $300,000 cash in the bank, that's covered because the bank's going to take your money and invest it. Okay. And if
Yeah.
the bank loses it, then the government's going to cover you.
Oh, if the
Right,
bank
that's what
loses it,
FDIC
then they
is.
cover you.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
say someone
Oh,
hacks
okay.
someone hacks your account and takes like $100,000, you're covered for that $100,000. But
Yeah.
other than that, no.
You can blow $100,000 on Robinhood and lose it.
Yeah, no, nobody's going to bail you out for that.
That would be the greatest thing ever, though, if they did.
Well,
I would bet
that's-
so much more aggressively, dude. I'd be like, okay, penny stock everything I
Yeah.
have.
Well, that's information that's good to know because I
Good
thought,
for you.
but I didn't know how that works. So now, in order for you to get covered, the bank has to be using your money, but then the bank is using your money and you're paying their fees. So
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people with like let's just say millions of dollars, they go to multiple banks because you're only covered up to like 250,000 from what I last heard. So they only invest or they only put 250,000 of their own money in one bank because if you lose it, then they want to be insurance to covered, right? So they go to a different bank. Like I had in a actually I mentioned the bank earlier, but let's forget about that. They brought in like $1 million, right? In like paper bags, right? And they counted all day. It took them like all day to count it in this room, right? And they only put 250,000 in the bank because they knew they needed to go to a different bank to have it covered for insurance coverage. But yeah, these people were keeping it under their basement, like, and the son was worried because what if there's a fire or a flood or something? That money's gone, right? If you don't have it anywhere else. So they talked the mother into finally putting into a bank. But yeah, it was crazy. I was like, man, you have all like over $1 million worth just in your like house.
well, you could always take it to an island bank.
Swiss bank account.
Yeah, or Caymans, Caribbeans.
Cayman Islands.
Cayman Islands. Or, you know, because like essentially a bank, you're not really just storing your money. You're giving your money to a bank, you know, where they are storing your money, but it's not just sitting there. They're using that money for themselves.
Yeah.
They're using your money
yeah.
to invest it.
They invest it and make money off it, and then they keep cash reserves on hand
Yeah.
for
And
ATM
they're giving you
withdrawals and stuff.
0.00001% of it.
Even
Yep, exactly.
and the only way you can see any of that interest is if you pay their fees. And different topic for a different time. Fucked up. So I think this is probably a good point for us to end this conversation. I think final words are become more fiscally intelligent, look into alternative means to store your money.
EVs.
And just don't blow it
Take
on
class.
don't blow it on hookers and blow. And don't and if you
No,
have to
you could blow your profits. No, if you realize your profits, you could blow it on hookers and blow. Just don't blow your pot that you invest in on hookers and blow.
Only your
You
profit.
could cash out 20
Yeah.
grand a year in trading and blow that all on hookers and blow, but don't blow the 100 that you made that 20 grand.
yeah. And if you have to pay for your investments or pay for a fiscal learning class, then don't do it, because you can learn everything on Google.
Or from this podcast, of course.
Oh, I don't know who anybody's gonna learn anything from this podcast, but all right, turn this off now. All right, later, guys.